Good evening. Brad. I'm going to talk to you guys tonight a little. I have a quick question to start off. How many of you have children? Got kids? Okay. Tonight, I'm just going to talk about a new epidemic that's going on in the United States. And I just wanted to give you a little fact to think about. 1/3 of the American diet consists of junk food. It's crazy, right? The influx, low cost, and availability of processed foods has caused this new epidemic in America of childhood obesity. Basically, tonight I'd like to discuss, obviously processed foods, the disease states associated with them, the dangers of processed foods, and then ways that we can work on preparing healthier meals and for our kids and ourselves, and just doing a better job of eating healthier. First off, I'd like to basically we'll go over some processed foods. You look in your pantry, you have things like barbecue sauce, innocent enough, right? First ingredient, sugar, high in sodium. Oreo cookies, you know those aren't good for you, high in fats, right? Sugars. Again, quick. A lot of the stuff in your pantries are filled, excuse me, a lot of the stuff in your pantry is based off processed foods. Here we go to the majority of the foods that we have are processed. Most of them contain saturated fats. They're high in sodium. Where is it? In a report done by Shativi Jetvi, she explained that if you go into your freezer, the majority of everything we have, unless it's bought at like the fruit stand, she explained, is processed in one way or another. They've made themselves a staple in our diet because they're easy, they're efficient, you can get them cheaply. Real quick alternative to making dinner for your family. You run through a drive-through or go to a sit-down restaurant chain, which surprisingly enough, the majority of sit-down restaurant chains, their items on the menu consist basically of processed food, just reheated and served to you. Then the consumption of these processed foods have more consequences other than just obesity, which they directly affect childhood obesity in America, but they also lead to many disease states, such as type 2 diabetes, which is now more prevalent than ever in children. Once it was called adult onset diabetes, right? How many of you guys familiar with that? Adult onset. Now, in recent studies, it has been linked to poor diets in children stemming from processed foods, and no longer do we call it adult onset diabetes. And that was published by the CDC. And then the Mayo Clinic also came out with a study in regards to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is they describe as accumulation of fat deposits in the liver by people who consume little or no alcohol. Okay, so we're talking about little kids with symptoms of disease process in people that abuse alcohol. These are just kids, and it's directly associated with the consumption of processed foods. And then we can curb this dangerous trend by doing many things, such as making healthier food choices, avoiding the fast food restaurants, which the National Catholic Reporter did a study and showed that Californians are 5 times more likely to encounter a fast food restaurant or sit-down restaurant than they are a grocery store or a produce stand. So that obviously tells you the availability is there, right? You want to start choosing things that like whole grains for your kids that are non-processed, like the bleached flour you don't want to use, more vegetables, and incorporating less things that are processed. Take the extra time to actually choose foods that are better for us, It doesn't have to be organic, but just natural foods. You want to seek out foods that are low in saturated fat, obviously. Start reading labels. Educate yourself on what we can do to find healthier foods by reading the labels. And don't rely on what they say here, like 25% less sugar. Well, 25% less of what? There's still, you look at this, 13 grams of sugar per serving, So basically what it all comes down to, this new epidemic stems from processed foods So we really needed to work harder in identifying processed foods, which I gave you a few examples here tonight. Also, just work on choosing those healthier foods, and we can curb this dangerous new trend. Thank you.